Hi, doctor. Are you currently seeing patients with shoulder pain? What about frozen shoulder? What if I could teach you a neurological treatment system in which you could literally take a person from frozen shoulder to a full range of motion in 2 visits? And this system is so powerful that we guarantee results in 2 visits, or we don't accept the patient for care. Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Barlow. I'm a board certified chiropractic neurologist. I also carry a fellowship in functional neurology, and every Wednesday night at 5 p.m., I'm giving a 1-hour seminar free of charge. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help your community. I'm here to help our profession go to the next level. I personally look forward to seeing you every Wednesday night. I want to completely change your life and change your community's life. And I can help you do that because I've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of doctors from Europe to Canada, all the way to New Zealand with these types of health issues. Okay. So I look forward to seeing you Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Central on the webinar. Have a great day. I look forward to seeing you on the internet.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Edge on Regenerative Medicine Show. I am here with Dr. James Augustine. I'm excited because we have, not only do we have the best doctors that are on Edge on Regenerative Medicine Show, but we're here to help one person at a time. One of the great things about Dr. James is that today we are going to be talking about how to transform your health in the next 30 days. If you'd like to get to know more about Dr. James, you can go to aheadtowellness.com, aheadtowellness.com. He is in the Buena Park, California area. Actually from my neck of the woods. I was in Redlands, California, which I dearly miss. They have the perfect weather over there, but no pun intended. But everybody out there, caring is sharing. And I mean that in a great way, because one video can change one person's life. So if you're not in pain, that's okay. Share it, because you can help one person at least. That's on your Facebook page or YouTube. I don't care if it's Google Plus, Twitter. Let's get it out there. So thank you so much, Dr. James, for being on our show.
It's awesome to be here. It's
awesome.
Great to connect with like-minded people.
You know what? It's funny how, people say the universe, but I say God universe, how, he brings this like-minded people together. And again, thank you very much. And I wanted to talk about how to transform our health in the next 30 days. But before we do, I wanted to ask you, how did you get into the type of work that you do now to want to help people so much?
Well, initially, I've been in practice for 32 years, and my mom became very ill. So basically, by license, I'm a chiropractor, but I've always foundationally thought and knew that, ultimately healing comes from inside out. The body is really, truly what heals. And my mom, she had bladder cancer, she had rheumatoid arthritis, then diabetes. And I watched her go through the most grueling death. And it was just so traumatic for me. I had to find a way to figure out how to not let people do that. It was just, I just said, I can't see people go through this. So that seems to be the type of people that I attract, is cancer, autoimmune disease, chronic illness type patients. So yeah.
Wow, it's talking about how it's funny how you brought up the word attract. I just got off the phone and no pun intended, with one of my best friends. He was actually my, back in the early 90s, he was my youth leader. And I was just a kid. And, we were just talking about cancer. His wife has cancer and stuff like that. And they've kind of given up. And I don't believe in happenstance or by choice, or not by choice, but by chance. But, how that happens. Like I said, I'll be having him give you a phone call like ASAP, and whatever we have to do to help people. I think I think God uses the people that are willing to stick their head out there and say, you know what, I'm willing to do what it takes, even if it's hard. And I thank you for being that I call it the general on the lines. So how do we transform our health? And before you answer that question in the next 30 days, did you also, when you go into that, do you also go into how to transform the mind with the health? Just no pun intended, wanted to jump on that one.
Well, that's an interesting way that you brought that up, because I've found that the most difficult thing to do with people is to really work on these lifestyle habits, because today's model of healthcare is you go to the doctor and it tends to be, we've been brainwashed to think it's doctor fix me. And the doctor will give, they'll spend a few minutes with you. The average across the United States is 5 to 7 minutes as a doctor's visit, average.
Wow.
How in the world can they figure you out? First off, they don't address the causes, the root causes behind problems. And secondly, it's always, here, take this drug and or do this procedure, or a combination of those two. And so what I'm struggling, it is a struggle to really sort of reorient a person's mindset towards, if you really want your health to change, can you really address these lifestyle issues? No one likes to change their diet, but it's essential, because your body is not a sack of drugs and chemicals. It's really a sack of food and nutrition. So that's so foundational, and yet it's sort of passed over. And that's why I was saying, I'm not responsible for my health. You are a doctor, so fix me. And if you don't fix me, I'm going to blame you. So that's sort of the mindset. And so therefore, I spend a lot of time with patients really going through and digging deep into what's foundationally behind things. And so if a person will not change their diet and the way that they're eating, things really don't change much. And so we need to change that, because I always say that the fire that's going on inside of you, if you keep adding fuel to it, that fire never goes out. And so, but it begins with our mindset. Absolutely. If someone is ready to heal, many people are not ready to heal. Hence, we have to talk about, their mindset, their lifestyle, what's really going on, how much stress is going on in their lives. Are they able to keep up with it? Are they able to sit down and carve out a way? And I try to do that. I'm really calm and relaxed, and, it's not so hard line. It's my way or the highway. It's because if it's too hard and too difficult, the person's not going to win. The person's not going to solve it. So we take that sort of, make some changes, identify that you need to make changes, because nothing's going to change if you don't change your diet. Critical and foundational, number one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I love what you're saying, because number one, you have to have a willing spirit, a willing person that's saying, basically, I'm fed up, I'm willing to change. Mm-hmm. I love the old saying, what you think is what you become. Mm-hmm. It has not just what you're thinking, but believe it or not, this, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're thinking a certain way, it affects your eating habits, your eating patterns, things that you do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's so not funny, but I had a slip disc years ago. And when I went to go see the doctors, no pun intended, but I always tell people you have two types of doctors. You have the doctors that give you the little white baggie with the pills, send you off, wait for you to come again, because they know you're going to come back to get a higher dose because it's no longer working as good as it did. Then you have the other doctors like yourself that actually look beyond that. Okay, well, let's go to the root of it. Let's find the root, where you actually take the time, do an x-ray, look at what's going on. Okay, how is you eating? These are certain things. And a lot of these other doctors aren't doing that. And I'm not saying all those doctors do that. Most of them will say 98%. I'm bad. I'm on 98%. And, a lot of it, you don't hear about them saying, you know what, you need to change this and change this, maybe very few. But I think that we need to talk about more where the problem is. Right now, we're talking about transforming your health in 30 days. That's more on, you know what, we need to stop giving out so many prescription drugs. And no one's saying the truth, that more people are dying by prescription drugs than anything right now. I mean, that should be more the epidemic that we should really be talking about, but that's for another show. So what are some other steps? Because I know that you have a program on how to transform that. What are some other steps that people can take? But let's say they're having a hard time to take those steps. What would some of the couple things that they can kind of do some minor tweaks before they actually come see you or give you a phone call and see how they can do that?
Well, I always say, let's have a conversation first. I don't even like to call it a consultation, because my personality is very calm, relaxed, conversive. I'm not wearing a white coat. I don't want to look like a medical doctor. And not that they're evil, to give them some credit. They're really well intentioned. It's they're stuck in a system that's in crisis, because if you never solve causes of problems, problems never go away. And hence, we're so down the scale. If we look at the world's healthiest countries, we're like so low on the scale. And it's because in this country, it's a big business. It's big pharmacy business to treat symptoms and not solve foundational causes. And so we have some really good, I offer some complimentary consultations to really see if they're sort of willing to make some changes, if they're ready to make some changes.
Mhm.
And my 30 Ways in 30 Days program is absolutely free also. They just have to put in their name and an email address, and they will get once a day an email plus a video of me describing different lifestyle tips that are just so basic and foundational. And you can pick and choose, but today it's just do something. Don't sit there and do nothing. Or just wearing a mask and gloves is not going to get you healthy. And no one in mainstream healthcare today is talking about how about strengthening your immune system. Common sense. And it's not rocket science. I mean, taking some vitamin D or getting into the sun, not rocket science. And no, it's not going to cause skin cancer 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the early afternoon to really start to kick up your vitamin D levels. Afternoon's going to kick up your serotonin, your happy brain chemical, that at night is converted to melatonin to make you sleep better. I mean, basic stuff. And so we like to do this progressively, and that's why this 30 Ways in 30 Days program works so well. And it gets people in that mindset of, hey, I can do this. It always needs to be, I can do this. If it gets too difficult, it's not going to happen.
No, I love it. And you're right. You're saying I can. And it's funny. I have a couple kids, and some of the things that whenever I start hearing them talk, I can't. I'm like, okay, that's a bad word. You owe me $20. I actually do that. It works pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah, it's because they make money working for us, and then, they chores and stuff like that. But I always say those are bad words, and we got to be careful, because what the mind achieves is what it's hearing out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
This is a computer, and it's funny because there was let me see, my brain just got away from me from there. But what's interesting is that we don't realize that, let's say we'll use cancer, or you have diabetes. You always hear, I have my cancer, my diabetes. I mean, like, really? I mean, you're acting like you can just go into a grocery store and, get your Twinkies. That's yours. But this is not your diabetes or your cancer. Now you're telling your body, because what your body starts to react to, especially your words, because your words are a vibration, which is very interesting. We can go into that later. But I find that very interesting. Do you find that with a lot of people that you're working with, that they say a lot of trigger words where they're kind of condemning themselves?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the worst, and I'm not saying that people are the worst, but the type of conditions that are the worst would be like Lyme disease. They have this sequence of words that they've been brainwashed with, and they become the disease. Or if they're diabetic, they are now a diabetic, because doctors will say, once a diabetic, always a diabetic.
Yep.
And if you then turn it around and say, okay, what's causing this foundational? It's not this monster that's growing inside of you mysteriously. It's, can you break the habit of starch and sugar? And
Right.
then work on, because targeted nutrients like vitamins, those buzzwords, vitamins and minerals and herbs, those are the tools and fuels, tools to repair your body and fuels to get to function normally. If you look at biochemistry, because I've had it and MDs have had it too, if you look at biochemistry, it's this nutrient plus this nutrient equals this biochemical reaction, not drugs. Drugs force and control and bypass that at the expense of other, develop other problems in your body. So, but people do, they become the disease, which is really, really sad. And they get to the point where their self-talk is creating that, and it's so tough to get their mindset out of that. So that is so, so important. I can almost tell from a consultation whether a person is ready and can really solve it, because it's just so sad to me when somebody has cancer or autoimmune disease and they're so horribly ill, they have so many symptoms, they don't really believe that they can heal. So there's a lot to that. And it really takes some work to try to start getting their mindset thinking differently, like you're talking about.
Wow, that's amazing. So what I'm hearing you say, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you don't just take anybody.
No, no. And back in the day, it's interesting because doctors, we have coaches too. And it was said, some will, some won't, so what, next? And I'm like, I have such a hard time with that because, I get a big heart. When someone comes in, I try to put myself in their shoes. And so I really do, feel badly. And we try to work through all those levels to get them where they need to go. But just some people are not ready. And I can also honor that because, I can try to force and control them. And I'm not the type to yell at them. I would rather have them to say, yeah, let's do this. Yes, I like the results. I have a lady right now that's just getting amazing results, and she's got a multitude of issues. And why? And I keep encouraging her because she's actually changing her diet. She's actually doing this stuff, and she's so excited. And she's already in a week, she's lost 6 pounds. And for ladies, that's really, really significant.
No, that's huge.
It's fun when you can get people to that point, but when some people are I'd say brainwashed, but medicine is true healthcare. Anything other than that is hocus pocus. And I try to make it really common sense. Biochemistry is biochemistry. You can't change that. No. I'm not wanting to do drugs and surgery. They don't want to do what I want to do. Doctors don't have time. Their practices are inundated with people that are on drugs. And yeah, they have to see lots of people because these people are getting better, unfortunately. And I think they know better, but it's sad. It's really sad.
What's interesting is a lot of people don't realize, especially when they're sick, is that God created the spine to heal. Our bodies are actually created to heal itself. That's why we have cells. And the sad part about it is that, a lot of us are being lied to about whatever we're struggling with, whether it be Lyme disease or cancer. And we start talking the verbiage, like you said, that we're studying, and then we're becoming that. Oh, but I can't heal because of this. It's almost kind of like Alcohol Anonymous, What's their favorite saying? Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. It's almost like that's been transported into all these different niches of people with pain, especially with people with cancer. One thing I've noticed, a lot of people that have cancer that are not healing, a lot of them aren't changing their diets. They're continue doing what they're doing, and they're still eating the sugars, or they're eating certain things that turn into sugars, which created the problem. Yeah. I'm kind of going through that with somebody right now. I'm like, you need to start eating better for starters.
Sure.
But with that said, on an ending note, tell us a little bit about some of the functions that you offer right now at your office, because I know there's going to be some people that in Buena Park area that are going to see this video, and I would love for them to see you.
Well, some major barriers to healing. 80% of our nervous system is actually above the spine, literally is here. And 80%. That really slapped me and woke me up when I wanted to see people heal from chronic illness.
Wow.
And it wasn't happening. And it was because I wasn't going deeply enough. I wasn't actually working with the brain. Now we do something called biocranial to improve central nervous system function. And it works every time. Unless a person's dead, it doesn't work. But it works amazingly well. And if you never measure that, see how the autonomic nervous system is doing. Mm-hmm. Autonomic sounds like automatic. And it's the side of your nervous system that runs and regulates your organ systems. And there's a side of it that actually does the healing in your body. Some testing that we do, heart rate variability testing, EKG based, but it measures your heart, but also your autonomic nervous system. People with dreadful illness have dreadful autonomic nervous systems. People with great health have great nervous systems. So there's got to be a connection there. So if we can take these people and move them in this direction, people can actually heal. That's one of the barriers that I found, is that if no one ever addresses the problem within the autonomic nervous system, you just never really heal. And barrier number 2 that's major is cellular health. I know you probably heard lots about that. It's a big discussion topic. Hence the reason that we have a technology, this full body scanning technology that actually measures cellular health, plus this testing that we're talking about called high voltage PEMF, pulsed
Oh, yeah.
electromagnetic fields. It's an electron donating to our body actually improves cellular health. Because I came to that case, that person who we did this perfect strategy to get them to heal. They did everything 6 weeks. We rescanned and retested them, no changes. And that doesn't sit well with me. And so
No.
right about that time, the scan had a massive update on that could measure cellular health. And that's when I was introduced to this technology, just like 13 or 14 years ago.
Mhm.
And those two major barriers, people just don't improve. And then, what you hear from a person goes to the doctor, well, it must be your age and it must be genetic.
Yeah.
Which of those two problems can you do something about? Neither one of them. I am aging. Look, I got gray hair. And at the same time that I'm aging, I'm having these issues, so it must be aging. And then, what can you do about genetics? And that is so much baloney, really. So two major barriers to healing: cellular health, autonomic nervous system, which is, I think, the two major players and why we can really get the results that we do with patients in our office versus other people that are just maybe prescribing nutrition.
Wow, I love it. I did not know that. So you said 80% is here.
Yeah.
That's pretty strong.
Well, and so I'm skeptical and analytical. I have this heart rate variability testing that we do. I took it by technology to this work called biocranial, and I said, okay, you can change the results of this scan, this testing. I will do your work. Because I had it for 6 years and I couldn't change it no matter what I did. I tried upper cervical adjusting, I tried craniosacral, I tried everything and nothing. Here, take these vitamins, here, take these herbs. Nothing would change it except biocranial. And now we even charge up the brain with this, I call it cell exercise, this high voltage pulse electromagnetic fields. And it's no symptoms, no side effects or risks whatsoever to doing that. It charges up cells. It gets tissue to heal like I've never seen before. And you feel it and you will have changes. I don't care who it is.
Wow.
So,
now, do you put it on your head?
oh yeah, do it in the brain. We do it on the heart. You can put it full blast on the heart. It does not alter the rate or rhythm of your heart. It charges up cells.
Amazing. Okay. Wow.
Kidneys.
What other gadgets do you have? It's like Batman. What else do you have at your office?
Well, we have another thing. It's called a heart scan recorder that measures all 4 valves of your heart, not to diagnose disease, but to find nutrient deficiencies. And as soon as you provide those targeted nutrients based on your heart valves and how they're functioning, heart function immediately changes. And so does full body health, because you're, like you say, whole food B vitamins don't just only affect heart function, but they affect your brain and just about everything else. So it's really, that's another amazing tool that we use. And you can see changes within 15 or 20 minutes if you take the right nutrients.
Amazing. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah,
Wow.
really cool.
Yeah, it's funny. Every time when I talk with doctors, I'm like, it's like Batman. It's like, where do they get all these wonderful toys? I mean, I'm not joking. I actually start to buy some of these. I don't call them toys, but yeah, I do call them toys. But I actually use them. Yeah, I actually use them in my own home. I mean, I have systems for blood flow, and I'll go to these conferences with doctors and meet some really cool people like yourself, and I end up there, doing seminars or whatever. Next, I'm buying the systems. I'm like, I need it at my house, because I always look at it. You know what? We're always getting older, and I know I'm not a doctor, but at the same time, you know what? I know that since I'm learning these things, I might as well get educated and start utilizing them on myself and my family. But Dr. James, I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show. And if you can give us one thing that's been on your mind today. I'm just going to throw this out there. One thing that's been on your mind today that you can, tell people, maybe just from your heart, maybe something that's been going on, and you can send us off.
I would say sleep is so critical. The most important thing you can do for your immune system is getting good sleep. However that needs to happen. I'm not a big drug person. I would not say take drugs because it's artificial. How do you do that? Get some sunshine, afternoon sunshine, get a little bit of physical exercise, do some physical exercise, and your sleep will improve. So, and sleep is critical because it's so important for healing, for immune system response, for everything. So even though I know today is focused on immune system, it's still foundational basics for health. So I would say sleep is probably the number one thing you can do for your immune system.
I love it. I tell you what, one thing I learned this from my grandfather. If I'm going to work a lot, or if I'm going to work a long day, if I get up early, I take my cat nap between 2 and 3, and I get back ready on the treadmill to go work. You know what I mean? I have to agree. You know, the funny thing is, talking about a habit, I've always wanted a habit of working out forever. I mean, I'm 43 years old. Hey, you know what? The bottom line is it doesn't matter how old you are. But the cool thing about it is, for me, since we've been on this, I call it the quarantine act, I'm working out basically every day now. And it's funny because now I'm in that 30-day mark, and you know what? I'm feeling great. Now, if I don't work out a day, I'm like, no, I'm feeling it. I need to do it because I'm noticing the difference, the change.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I could talk about it all day long for years, but now for the first time in my life, I'm actually being consistent. You know, I've been eating right, but haven't been really working out, you know? Yeah. But again, thank you so much, Dr. James, and everyone, make sure that you stop by at ahead to wellness.com. See Dr. James in Buena Park, California. And just like the doctor said, get some rest. Make sure it's not artificial. Have a great day, everyone. And God bless you. And God bless you, doctor. I appreciate you.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Hey, great job.